Hi, and welcome to Snappy Chat. So we've got a couple of people here today. I've got Mike Aschenbrauner and I've got the wonderful Jason Wilson here as well. I'm Christine Bell, by the way, and this is live Snappy Chat. This is where we learn and grow together in business. It's all about the challenges that we face in business and how we can learn and grow together. So I'm super excited. I got Jason Wilson here. We're going to be talking a lot more. In the meantime, there was a little bit of a who's going to show up. And Mike Aschenbrauner showed up as well. And amazing. He's a fantastic guy. If you don't know him already, he is the leader of the Hounds of community. Hounds, is that how you say it? The Hounds of business community. And he's just an all-around amazing person. And his LinkedIn course is absolutely gold. So if you don't know him and you want to become part of a fantastic community that Jason and I are part of, then you definitely want to reach out to Mike. So I'm going to put you in the background. He's helping me today. So thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it. You've already helped me through earlier this today as well. So absolutely appreciate you so much. So thank you. Do you want to say a word quickly?
You're welcome. No, that's what we do. Hounds of Business. DM me, go to Hounds of Business page, pushing up people, man. You know, whether you're starting off or you're already kicking butt, we can make it better together. That's it. That's all the corny things I have to say. All right. You
Perfect.
can get rid of me now.
Oh, wonderful. Love you dearly. See you soon.
Love
Thank
having
you.
you in.
Oh, I just cut him off. That's how I deal with Mike. Sometimes I accidentally cut him off. Sorry,
That's
Mike.
all
I
right.
cut you
That's
off.
all right.
Anyway, it's great to have you here. So I met you through the Hounds of Business community and
Yes.
I learned about you. I thought you were just so inspirational. You live in Colombia. You're from America. You live in Colombia. You're just a heart center person. You're very, very great at helping people in business. And I know you do a lot of good stuff for helping with mental health and everything as well. So please tell us a little bit more about you, Jason.
Thank you so much. I'm originally from Atlanta, and I met my ex-wife, who was actually from Bogota, Colombia, in Atlanta. She was on her summer vacation, and at the time, this was like 2003, Christine. So
Yeah.
everything that was in the media was negative about Colombia. I mean, there was nothing positive. So we're talking about bombings, drugs, kidnappings. And, I have to say that the only thing that got me on the plane to come down here was the Lord. He gave me the faith and the confidence to take that step. And I think that's what I want to talk about today is, you may not have everything figured out at the beginning when you're starting your business or any other project. You may not have the resources, the people, the finances. You just have to take the step, even though you don't have everything together. And that's what we've experienced with Circle of Friends Club and Freedom Fight Expo. We just took the step, and you just find that, everything just kind of falls into place as you're going through the necessary steps.
I love this conversation, and it's actually something that I have very much been experiencing firsthand and learning to let go of control,
Yeah.
which is the ego usually running the show. Yeah. So let's talk about that. Beforehand, I just want to say I went to Colombia in 2005. I was in Australia, living in Australia. Within 3 months, they said, "Hey, can you go to Colombia and do some market research?" I'm
Huh.
like, sure I can. And like you, I'm like, I didn't know anything. We only heard bad things about Colombia.
Right.
It was supposed to be dangerous. You shouldn't go there and all this. And I flew through America, through Miami and stopped in Miami. And then I went on a plane to Colombia. And I have to say, hands down, to this day, I have never been more taken by a culture,
Yeah.
by a group, a population, by their humanity, by their kindness, and by their, shall we say, joy for life.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
I was absolutely gobsmacked. And I sorry, I'm taking away from our conversation here, but we
No,
will
that's all
get back to it.
right.
I was absolutely gobsmacked. I had this wonderful guy driving around in a beat up taxi, yeah, he took me everywhere. He took me to the church in Bogota on the hill. He took me to the museum. The client that I was working with took me out doing salsa dancing. I was staring at everyone who was amazing at it. And I have to say, what a culture. To this day, I'd say it's the most wonderful place I ever been to.
I mean, that's awesome to hear you say that. And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation because, I want to put together a Colombia tour this later this year, like in November, December.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to collaborate on that.
Absolutely, and I'd love to come. I was just looking at my internet whether it was going away. So definitely, I'd love to go back there and have a proper holiday. I've been a couple of times for work, but my goodness, this is definitely tick place in terms of going. So let's talk about that later. But yeah, coming back to what you're talking about, and I see there's some wonderful people here. I'm just going to say hello to Kelly, Sindel, Isabel is here. Mike, of course, is in the background helping us as well. A wonderful person. Coming back to what you're saying, for the last year in business, it's definitely been like difficult. And one of the things has been is that I used to think that my ego could manifest a lot of things, and it was coming from the ego control. I want this and this, and I just work hard enough and push hard enough, and it's going to happen. Yeah. And then I'll make things happen, and usually they would fall flat in my face, as in not work out the way I imagine it. Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
it was driven by the ego. It wasn't driven by faith. And I have to say, this personal development journey I've been on for the last 9 years, I did not see myself going on a spiritual journey, but suddenly, boom, there it was. And I think that's what you're talking about a little bit in terms of, and that's also something hasn't just been from one to the other. It's been a growing experience. It's been a development. It's in process. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about this, because it's so true. We can't control, like we think we control things, but we really don't. We can do our best, but we can't control. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not. I just wanted to say a quick shout out to Kelly Steinica and Patsy Quay. They're part of my team at Circle of Friends Club. And, in the beginning, I got this idea about Freedom Fight Expo about a year ago. And at the time I was on a fast, and I was having a conversation with the Lord, and he gave me the idea for this expo. I said, okay, we need a name. And he said, Freedom Fight. I was like, wow, phenomenal. Okay, so the idea was to have this Freedom Fight Expo in 2025. And this past November, he said, Jason, do not wait until 2025, start now. I said, okay, how are we going to do this? And he said, online, everybody's there. There's no restriction on who can participate. And I was like, wow, brilliant. So I started reaching out to people in my network on LinkedIn. And Kelly was one of those first people that I talked to about it. And she said, Jason, phenomenal idea. How can I support you? How can I be a part of it? And, we just got it going from there. And I talked to Patsy Quay about it. She loved the idea as well. So we started the first event in February. And it's just been all uphill from there. We've had speakers come from left and right, in the Hounds of Business community, in my community on LinkedIn, and all over the place. People want to be a part of it. So, it's been awesome.
Oh, I love that. What a fantastic journey you've been on. And so tell me a little bit more about this thing that you mentioned up front in terms of, when we come to starting a business, like you're saying, this whole idea is we don't need to have all the things together. Yeah. We have to lean more into trust. We have to lean more into just, I guess, taking smaller steps, or just going, feeling into what's moving us, what we're inspired by is what I'm working on.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is that, you have to have the reason why you want to do this business pretty dialed in, and you just focus on the why, because even though you don't have the resources, you're still motivated by the reason why you want to do this in the first place. Even when you don't have the money, you don't have the resources, you're still motivated and encouraged to continue through those challenges. So I think that's the biggest thing to starting a business, is that you need to have the reason why you want to do this.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah. Absolutely. So once we have the why and it's moving us, and we can feel it, for me, and I don't know about you, it's been a sense of feeling into what feels good. So because the ego, for me at least, will always want to take over in terms of how can I get business in, and how can I get clients in now? How can I make it happen now? How can I grow as fast as possible? When in fact, sometimes that's driven by fear, I think.
Yes.
Of what I don't have, versus actually going, what feels good, in terms of listening, stopping and listening. And Sierra is here as well, and she has been great at teaching me this as well, in terms of really stopping and listening more to the intuition. And for me, and I don't know about you, it's about feeling into good feelings. So if something feels like joy to me, if something feels like I don't know how to do it, but it feels joyful. It feels I'm moving towards it. It feels like something I want to do. Like these Snappy Chats. As someone had told me last year when I started them in January, saying, you got to do live in LinkedIn. I'm like, what should I do? And I just looked at that. I didn't have a clear idea about it. And then I thought, it feels good. There was a feeling that wanted to do it. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how, but I really wanted to explore it. Mm-hmm. And that came from inside. And for me, that's how I hear the difference between, my ego wanting to out of fear versus the highest self, you call it, or whatever we call it, a God, whatever we want to call it, and my intuition. Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing with me. And I think that, when you have those negative feelings, fear, anxiety, and even depression or any other mental health concern, and you start to take actions or not taking actions out of that fear, it's always going to lead to some kind of destruction in your life. So, the best thing is to be able to distinguish, okay, is this a positive feeling or is it negative? And you start to take actions based on that. So for me, whenever I'm inspired with some kind of idea, some action to take, I jump right in and, try to get people on board with it as much as I possibly can. And it's always led me in the right direction.
I love that. And there's another point you just made here is we don't have to do it alone. Yeah. And I think often in business, it can feel so lonely, especially when we are starting out or we have never been in business before. And suddenly we're working for ourselves, which in some ways makes us feel free and excited. But then comes this, I have to do everything myself. I don't know what I'm doing. And then we can kind of shut down in terms of if we have especially if we're not 100% in our self-esteem, we can easily go, it's too big for my shoes. I can't do this. This is too big. But what you just said is you try to pull in other people, get other people on board. And right. I think that's often we forget that, we don't have to do everything on our own. We can bring other people on board as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the Hounds of Business community is the perfect place where you can join and talk to other entrepreneurs. I met you through the Hounds of Business community. Isabel Fortin, I'm meeting her this week as well.
She's amazing.
Yeah. And, I got to give credit to Chasen Forehand. He was the one that invited me in the first place. I
had him on a couple of weeks ago. He's brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Chasen is awesome. Yeah. So, there's a lot of great people in that community that are just doing phenomenal things in the world. Yeah. So, I try to endorse them whenever I possibly can.
Yeah. And I think also in terms of when we say bring other people in, doesn't mean we have to hire them, doesn't mean we have to share, it's more about sometimes it's just, meeting a friend almost, or meeting someone who gives you a valuable tip or is there when you just need someone to, you're going through the hard yards and you just feel down and someone else go, hey, you know what? I'm going through the same. You're not alone.
Yeah.
For me, that has been so important, that thing. Sometimes remember we're not alone here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Mike Asherbranner, this guy is phenomenal. I love this guy for starting this community in the first place. Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant. And it's a great place to meet different people from around the world. And with the lockdowns in Australia a couple of years ago, they were pretty horrific here, yeah? And I wasn't used to being that much on social. And oh my goodness, for the last few years, just by being on LinkedIn, that's how I met Mike as well. Literally on LinkedIn, him liking my post, me starting to like his. And, half a year later, we had a chat and he made me laugh. And the rest is history, yeah?
Yeah. And they're so supportive of your business or your projects as well. So I got to say that. And so, yes, I think that surrounding yourself by the right people is one of the best things that you can do when you're starting your business or a new project or anything that you're passionate about. Another thing is that keeping your why at the top of your list to keep you consistent and motivated. And then having a routine as well, Christine. I don't know if you have a morning routine. I talked about this yesterday on LinkedIn, but that's very, very important too. Starting your day with some kind of ritual practice that you practice on a regular basis to keep you motivated and, keep your mind centered.
Yeah, so it is around this whole, and I do have a routine. It has been a little bit knocked out by my dog having been in hospital and stuff, but the normal routine is that we actually go for a nice walk in the morning. And that's my time to, I sometimes listen to stuff, but it's more deep stuff, more stuff that really connects me with myself. And that's my time for myself. And it's kind of meditation, nature, Harvey, my dog, listening to stuff that's important to me. And that's always a good way for me to start the day.
Yes. Yeah. And for me, waking up first thing in the morning, first thing I do is pray and go for some kind of exercise, whether it be lifting weights, taking a walk around the neighborhood, some kind of physical exercise. And then after that, making sure that I have a well-balanced diet.
Yeah.
So, I started Fitness Friday on LinkedIn. So Mike is on board with this. Jason's on board. And so
what is Fitness Friday? What does that tell us about that?
So, basically tell us what your routine is. Tell us what your progress is. And we'll try to keep each other motivated and, on task with whatever fitness goal that we have throughout the rest of the year.
That's so cool. So it's kind of like a little accountability team,
Exactly. Yeah.
Wonderful. So what other ways would you, if in terms of finding your why, because you talk about how important the why is, and I agree. I have met a few people who think they have a why, but then they start questioning it. Have you seen that as well? And sometimes have you ever questioned your why and going, am I dreaming? Has it always been strong for you? And how do we get really clear on our why?
Gosh, I think the circle that you have surrounded by you has a big factor on that. Because having an accountability partner, a person that you can talk to, bounce ideas off of. For me, that's Kelly Steinica. Every day I get with her and say, okay, what do you think about this? And she'll do the same thing with me. And, it just helps us to stay consistent, to stay motivated. So, you want to make sure that you have a good person to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah, so finding people who understand what we're going through, whom possibly they may have a different business, but they get what it's like to be a business owner, I guess, and the purpose we are here to fulfill and our why. Yeah. And that way we have those people that we can really trust and lean on, yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah, I love that. So with where you're going with your business now, what are some of the challenges you're facing now coming up?
So for the first couple of events that we had in February and March, we didn't really have a niche. We were pretty much targeting everybody, which I think it's okay when you're starting out, but then eventually you do want to niche down to a more specified target. So what we figured out was the best thing for us to do was to niche specific our events. Yeah. So for an example, in April, that event will be targeted towards people that have actually been inmates in jail, found Christ in jail, and have since been released to the public. They're trying to find their way, trying to figure out what they want to do. So that's our target for April, and then in May it's military veterans. And so every month we're going to niche specific our events that way.
I love that, and that also helps you get sponsors in, doesn't it? Because now they know that it's specifically relevant to the people that they are helping as well, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things about our events is that it's free. Anybody can participate. So we're looking for partners. We're looking for sponsors and people that will support us in our mission, which is to help people all over the world be free of, any kind of mental health concern, whether it's depression, anxiety, PTSD, suicidal ideation, the list goes on.
Yeah. And what a fantastic why. If you don't mind me asking, how did this why came about for you? Where was your passion for, for specifically helping with mental health? Because it's such an important, cause.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking that, by the way, Christine. So for me, it's my mother. And my mother suffered from depression for 14 years. And so, at this event in April, on the last day of the event, it's a 3-day event. Yeah. So on Friday, we feature 5 speakers that are entrepreneurs, athletes, mental health therapists, pretty much, professionals of any field. So we have 5 on Friday, 5 on Saturday, and then we have a
Wow.
pastor that does a prayer service on Sunday.
Yeah.
So on the Sunday is actually the anniversary of my mother's death. So, everything that I do regarding mental health, regarding our events, regarding Circle of Friends Club is dedicated to her. And of course, my work is dedicated to the Lord as well.
Oh, I love that. And thank you for sharing that, your personal story and about your mom. I really appreciate that. And what a beautiful reason for helping more people, because especially when we have experienced something close to our heart, close to us, yeah, it changes us. It helps us see life in a different way. And being on a spiritual journey myself now, not realizing I was going to go this direction, it's so important for me, at least, is to really feel into the fact that Earth is a learning ground. We're not here to just have a happy life full of excess and materials. That might come if we want that type of life. But life, if we really want to experience life and really want to engage with life, it really is like a learning playground where we're all here to learn and grow together and in ourselves. Yeah. And that means often we need to go through some difficult experiences, because it's the only way to sometimes crack through the ego and into the heart and actually connect more deeply is through challenges. Would you agree with this?
I totally agree with that. Yes. And you don't appreciate what you accomplish in life without the challenges and having persevered through those challenges. Yeah. So yes, nobody likes process. Nobody likes going through those challenging situations, circumstances. But when you go through them and you're on the other side, you say, you know what? I'm a much better person because of what happened. And now I can take all of those lessons learned and give them to other people.
Yeah. And the irony was, for me, is that it was actually me starting a business that got me on this journey. Yeah. We think, oh, I'm just going to start a business. It's going to be great. Yeah. Actually, I would say I started a business, but what I really started was my personal development and spiritual journey. And I did not see it coming. Yeah. But it's also what's getting me through the challenges. And it's also what's getting me to believe in myself and to believe that there is something fantastic is coming out of this. With the ups and downs, we're as long as we're open to learning and growing, it will move us into a direction where we are more heart-centered, where we are closer to ourselves, and we're more open to the world in new ways that we can receive things that we did not even think about beforehand. Yeah. And it's through emotional connections that I find the greatest joy these days.
Absolutely. Me too. And, when you're sharing your story about the challenges that you're going through, other people feel free to share their stories as well. Yeah. So, it's not just a growth process for you, but for everybody else that are surrounded by you too. So, I mean, it's great.
I love this. And this is exactly what my theme was for the Snappy Chat. I'm like, let's all learn and grow together. We're all going through challenges, and it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's quite rational, practical. It's everything together. Yeah. But it all comes together and it all helps us learn and grow and become the greater version of ourselves that we did not even necessarily see coming. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's some awesome comments in here. We can't grow our business without growing ourselves. That is absolutely
true. And you haven't met Sierra yet. Have you spoken to Sierra yet?
Haven't met her yet, but I would love to.
You got to. She has helped me so much in my business. She is so intuitive, and sometimes we just need someone else to give us insights, because sometimes it's hard to see for ourselves. Yeah, because we're so involved. Yeah, we're so stuck in our business or in our life that it's hard to actually see a new perspective. And Sierra is amazing to give us a new perspective. So I highly recommend you reach out to her and have a chat with her. And she's part of the beautiful Hansa community, like all the other amazing people here today. So if you don't know us yet, get in touch with Mike Aschenbauer is what I was going to say. So finishing up, anything in terms of, I know you got the events coming up, anything else you want to share about how people can reach out to you, what you've got going on that you want people to participate in? Please feel free to share, and then we'll finish up. And thank you so much for all your advice, sage advice today. I appreciate it.
Sure, you're welcome. And thanks for having me again, Christine. So yes, you can find us at our website, circleoffriendsclub.com. you can also find our business pages on LinkedIn. So that's Freedom Fight Expo. And then also we have another page for Circle of Friends Club. You can find us there. We have our next event coming up on April the 12th, 13th, and 14th. So you can go to our website, sign up there for the events. You can also sign up on our business pages on Circle of Friends Club or Freedom Fight Expo.
I love that. And if you don't mind, feel free to go into the comments afterwards as well and add all the details of everything you want to share with people.
Sure, I sure will.
Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Let's finish up here. We got Mike coming back quickly. Is Mike coming back? Let's let him in. Jesse, you want to come back in? No, he doesn't want to come in.
Right.
Are you here, Mike?
Do you see?
Oh, look at you. Look at you in the hammock.
Oh my
Wonderful.
gosh. Oh no.
There's a good point here about business. Sometimes we need time out, yeah, and we just need to take a walk. We need to take time out. We can't be heads down all the time in business. So thank you so much.
Mike, I don't blame you at all, Mike.
Oh man, it's a long time coming. I needed this.
Wonderful. Oh, this is wonderful. So thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you. Feel free to reach out to all three of us. Join the house. Absolutely. We're a great community. Thank you for everyone who showed up today. And we're going to finish up now. So saying goodbye. Take care.